Thanks, Draina. I kind of like Jagny, but given our theme, I wouldn't want to be mistaken for a Bond girl. I hear they make 0070% of what the guys make. So for the purposes of my remarks tonight, the name is Grossman, Jennifer Grossman. And here's hoping that my remarks leave you stirred and not shaken. So on this very date, October 5th in 1962, the very first James Bond movie was released. The title of that movie was Dr. No, and no, it wasn't a movie about Anthony Fauci. Though he would make a pretty good Bond villain, don't you think? You can just see him, right, patting the cat, saying, "If you want to live, Mr. Bond, you must wear the mask." And of course, no Bond movie would be complete without a visit from Q. "If you run out of bullets, 007, this pen will unleash a global lockdown, which I assure you can be quite deadly." And if there was a movie made about COVID, I suppose it would be called From Wuhan with Love. And it is with love that I want to recognize and thank a few people without whom none of us would be here tonight. First, of course, our amazing Board of Trustees. Jay LaPere, John Aglioloro, Cliff Asness, Frank Brooks, and of course, our founder, David Kelly and Peter Kopsis. Thanks to this year's sponsors, Jay and Sally LaPere, Peter and Judy Kopsis, Ken Griffin, the Bond Foundation, Frank and Gail Brooks, Michael Saylor, James Kiltz, Fred Young, and Gays for Capitalism. Other sponsors include Bud Brigham, Donors Trust, Ed and Marina Manowski, Jake Hoffman, Paul O'Leary, and Pennington Eliak. And thanks to the generosity of our sponsors, we have a record number of young people here tonight. So if you are one of them, please stand so we can recognize you. In praising that very first James Bond movie, Dr. No, Ayn Rand hailed it as, quote, "a brilliant example of romantic screen art." She went on to explain why Bond, as hero, held such mass appeal. She said, quote, "The obstacles confronting the average man are to him as formidable as Bond's adversaries. But what the image of Bond tells him is, it can be done. It can be done." And that's a statement that captures the attitude that each member of the team at the Atlas Society brings to the task of engaging a billion young minds with Ayn Rand's ideas. Now, it is the challenge and opportunity that we face is that, even among the highly motivated and idealistic young people that we meet at conferences hosted by our partners, Young Americans for Liberty, Turning Point, College Republicans, FEE, and SFL, many, if not most, have never heard of Ayn Rand, have never heard of, much less read, Atlas Shrugged, and few have any inkling of Rand's philosophy of objectivism. Add to that the fact that back in the 1970s, when kids weren't out flocking to theaters to watch Moonraker or A Spy Who Loved Me, 70% of them were reading books every day for fun. That percentage today 12%. So rather than give up, we get creative, and that includes adapting Rand's literature into graphic novels, as we've done with Red Pawn and Anthem, and later this year, Top Secret, in which we are adapting notes that Rand wrote for a screenplay about the making of the atomic bomb. It includes thinking long-term, beginning work, as we did again this year, for a graphic novel adaptation of The Fountainhead. And it means getting creative with forging new distribution channels, leveraging cultural phenomena like Comic-Cons to distribute 75,000 copies of Atlas Shrugged, as we did this past year. At the Atlas Society, we draw inspiration from Ayn Rand's observation that, quote, art is the indispensable medium for the communication of a moral ideal. We leverage art, and we also leverage technology. Earlier this year, we embarked on a very ambitious project to produce a book trailer of Atlas Shrugged, developing an AI model to transform live action into anime. And I'm very excited that all of you are going to be the first audience to see the fruit of that labor with the full-length version of the book trailer. Please direct your attention to the screen.
I had to find him. No matter the cost, no matter the risk. Taggart Transcontinental ran like blood veins across the country, pumping food, steel, oil, and people. And I ran the railroad. Why have we stopped?
It's not my fault. Lights red, lady.
It's malfunctioning. You can proceed on my authority.
Who are you to tell me what to do?
I'm Dagny Taggart.
Miss Taggart? Yes, ma'am. Right away.
But no matter how hard or long I worked, my railroad and the world was crumbling around me.
It's not my fault there's too much competition. We needed the anti-dog-eat-dog rule, Dagny. I can't be blamed.
Directive 10289 is based on the noblest principle. From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs.
There had always been looters and moochers. But the men of mind were always there to innovate, to create more from less.
Rearden metal is half the weight of steel and 5 times as strong.
It's the first thing made of Rearden metal. A chain. A fitting gift from my husband, don't you think? Hideous. I'd exchange it for a common diamond bracelet.
Unless you're not the coward that I think you are, you'll give it to me.
Soon enough, they'll come for my metal. Then they'll come for us.
I'm sorry, Miss Taggart. Mr. Atwood didn't say where he was going.
I'm sorry, Miss Taggart. He just came in. He said he was done.
No, Mr. Hammond didn't leave a message.
Only now, those men were leaving, retiring, disappearing. Someone was getting to them. One by one, the men holding up the world were abandoning it, abandoning me, just when I needed them the most.
Rearden steel belongs to everyone, not just one man. The age of the industrialist is over. Now is the age of the people!
Money is the root of all good. When production is banished and looting rewarded, do not ask who is destroying the world. You are.
If they believe that my mind is their property, let them come and take it.
Fire!
Hank!
Dagny, are you okay?
Look at this scrap metal. It was an engine. Look at the design. It pulled energy from the air. This could change everything. This could save us, the world.
Could have. It's in pieces. What kind of man would have left something so incredible to rot here?
I had to find and somehow stop him. We never had to worry about any of it, did we?
No, we never did.
And as long as you're applauding, I'd like to recognize my creative partner, Patrick Riesenover, who produced the trailer. And I'm excited to announce that thanks to a very generous donation from an anonymous donor, we are going to take all of that learning and apply it to our second book trailer of The Fountainhead, and that work has already begun. So it's one thing to produce great content, and in this day when we are just entirely awash in all kinds of content online, it is entirely another thing to make sure that that content gets seen. At the Atlas Society, we are doing both. This past year, we produced 3,000 pieces of digital content, each one of which draws 40,000 comments, shares, and likes. Among that content, of course, is our Draw My Life videos, including My Name is Democracy, My Name is Disinformation, My Name is Oil, among the half dozen produced just this past year, each one of which gets up to 8 million views in multiple languages. So if you accept my premises about general low baseline awareness of Ayn Rand coupled with an 85% drop in daily reading among young people, then what I've just described sounds like a pretty good first step in marketing ideas that are to many completely new. But we don't stop there. At the Atlas Society, I like to say that we produce programming and content for skimmers, swimmers, and deep divers, and then we mindfully move young people along a journey for advanced engagement. And on that journey, they will be guided by the brilliant members of our all-star academic faculty, whether it is picking up a pocket guide like Rob Trasinski's Pocket Guide to Socialism, which we'll be going home with tonight, or tuning in to our Professor Richard Salzman's Morals and Markets seminar, or listening to Professor Stephen Hicks and asking him questions on a Ask Me Anything on Clubhouse, or catching Antonella Martí in Spanish on one of her Spanish Twitter spaces, or, of course, getting intensive training from our founder and the rest of our all-star team at our summer conference. And it's a journey that our scholars continue to travel themselves. 5 years before her death, Ayn Rand had this to say: "The elaboration of a philosophical system is a job that no philosopher can complete in his lifetime. There is still a lot of work to be done," end quote. So tonight, I'd like to invite you to join us in supporting that work. I want to reinforce our chairman's appeal that you can find your QR code on your program, or find it on the screens, or flag down if you prefer to donate by check, one of the people that are passing out envelopes. Whether you are here as a guest of one of our sponsors, or maybe you are one of the sponsored students looking to mint yourself as a bona fide philanthropist with your first $10 donation. As Jay mentioned, all of those donations will be matched, so please be generous. And now that I have sung for the Atlas Society's supper, so to speak, get ready for some literal and literary music to your ears. Akira the Don is the pioneer of Meaning Wave, which is a musical psychotechnology that aims to help listeners achieve their highest potential in this lifetime. My first Meaning Wave experience was after a yoga class in Malibu, and I'm lying there and I'm hearing the voice of Jordan Peterson mixed with this lofty music, and I thought, of course, Ayn Rand. How can the Atlas Society get something similar, but with Ayn Rand's lyrics from her literature? So I tracked Akira down to Mexico, and to my delight, I found that he was deeply knowledgeable about Ayn Rand's work and open to a commission. Hence tonight, get ready to hear our trilogy of a tribute to Ayn Rand and her work, Anthem. Please give a warm welcome to Akira the Don.